Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today talking to Diego Guzman, a third-year Bachelor of Music student at Carleton University in Ottawa. We'll be talking to him about composition and his path through music. So, welcome, Diego. Tell us a little bit about yourself and music.
So, I first started playing piano when I was 6 years old, and then I started studying music theory when I was 10. I probably first considered film composition when I was about 12 years old. I loved playing like video games and obviously watching movies growing up. And I just remember hearing the music in the background and thinking like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like I wonder if I can play that on piano at all. And then I would sit down at the piano for hours just figuring out different soundtracks, different movie themes. And it was just really fun for me. And I thought like, maybe I could do this for a living, I don't know. And then I did some more research into it, and then by the time I was like 13, probably like grade 9, I knew I wanted to go into film composition, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
What kind of was your path that you took getting from thinking about playing a lot of piano when you were younger to where you are today?
So obviously I'm still on that path right now, but from being a kid, kind of transitioning to where I am today, like I would not have thought that I would even like, be working for Carleton. But I think like it's just all about your drive and just like being confident and meeting people. That helps a lot, and really taking the time to actually like be serious about your craft and sit down and take the time, put in the work. And yeah, just practicing piano, practicing different writing styles, learning as much as I can from whoever I can. I think that's really important. Definitely one of the big things is not to limit yourself, because if I had limited myself, I wouldn't have had as much exposure to music that I heard as a teenager or now into my 20s. So I think that's a big thing, is just getting as much exposure as you can to like everything, and then that's pretty much what's brought me to where I am versus where I started as just a classical piano player. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your process when it comes to composing music?
So typically, I'm handed a project, and depending on the length, depending on the content of the project, it can vary tremendously. But pretty much the first step is meeting with the director, producer, whomever, and just discussing their vision. Because essentially my job as a composer is to be more of like a music translator, to translate, what emotions, what feelings that the director wants to put into their project. So my process is first meeting with them and sitting down, having this talk. And then when I go back to my private space, my studio, is just kind of drawing on things that I've heard before, as well as coming up with like obviously new ideas and stuff. And then yeah, just kind of music ideas come to mind. I rely heavily on stuff that I've studied, my composition style, where do I want to bring this phrase, and from there, that's honestly probably the easiest part, is just writing the music, but establishing like how they want the music to be in the project, and all that kind of stuff is probably the hardest part of the process. And then once that's done, just send it off and then get paid. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
So, what's probably one of your favorite compositions you've worked on, and why?
Favorite, definitely. There's so many of them. There's so many, but my favorite was probably, I did this short documentary in November for Carleton on November, December. It was on the unionization of like women in the workplace at Carleton. It like took place in like the 70s and stuff when they were doing research on that. When it was established, and so I think it was probably the longest project I've worked on so far. So it's taken me the most time because it was short documentary versus like little promotions and ads and stuff that I've done for Carleton. But no, definitely, I liked it. What I liked about that was that it was longer and that I actually like, it wasn't something that I could just kind of like compose for, just get it done real quick. It's like I really had to sit down and think about it for a while, because like I knew it was a bit important, it was being featured and stuff. So I definitely, I don't know, I just liked working on it. Like the themes were pretty sick. I like writing a lot of kind of emotional music, and I was able to put a lot of that into this video. And I mean, they loved it. Thankfully they did. So yeah, I think I was able to like kind of put the Diego music kind of sound into that, which obviously I do for everything, right? But like this one was more up my alley, and I was able to demonstrate like my talents that I learned, in classical theory and harmony and all that kind of stuff. It was very like traditional style of writing. So I think that one by far was probably my favorite one. If you want a second favorite one, was probably just I did a small project. It's like a campaign advertisement for Ravens football. I don't know when it's being released. I think March. And it was the same thing. It was a bit longer too, that project. So it took me more time. So I really felt like I was actually, in the game, playing, actually being like a real composer for that. And it was sick. It was sick. It was obviously sports, and again, I could like put on display my kind of emotional style that comes naturally to me. I don't know why. I just like composing very like big, grand, orchestral, just big themes like that. So I enjoyed doing those two. Probably by far my most favorite would be those two.
All right. What part of the writing emotional music is it that you really enjoy? Why is it your favorite?
Why is that my favorite? Oh my goodness. I think just there's so much you can do with like emotional music, and like all music is emotional, right? If we're gonna break it down like that, but like tearing at the heartstrings kind of music, I don't know. It comes like naturally. Like I like feeling it, and I like putting it to picture. There's just something about it, and like I have a lot of fun with different instrumentation. I love writing for strings, obviously classical piano, and there's just a lot of different sound qualities you can get from that. And I don't know, it's just a good time. It's just, I like writing it. I find it easy. Composers have their fortes and like their weaknesses, and yeah, it's just important to know your strong suits and your weaknesses. And that's definitely one of my strong suits that I just enjoy, and it comes naturally to me, writing kind of more emotional music. But yeah, it's just a fun time.
What are your ambitions in terms of your future in the music industry?
So, excellent question. Definitely, like obviously my end goal is to relocate to Hollywood and make music for Hollywood films, like every film composer's dream. But I think we live in an age of like technology, and obviously like social media is huge. Everyone is like involved with photography, music, production. Everyone like has a tie for something nowadays with that. So like, there's definitely work here. Ottawa's growing, but obviously Ottawa's not known for being such a huge music city. Places like Toronto, Montreal, video games and film are a bit more prevalent in those cities. Vancouver's a good spot. But in terms of my future, honestly, we'll see where it goes. But I've met a lot of good contacts, even in Mexico too. I know some people back home. But this summer, I'm planning on interning in Los Angeles. Hopefully, I get a good call back. But we'll see. That's kind of the end goal. Is where I want to end up. Is composing for Hollywood films. It's my dream. So I'm really pushing for that, and we're just gonna keep on that path and see where it goes. And that's kind of the goal.
In regards to films and music, what is your favorite film when it comes to the music that they had in it?
Like film style or actual film? Like
specific film.
Specific. Oh my goodness. So many. You ask anyone what's their favorite movie, it's gonna take them a long time. I don't know if it's my favorite, but the first like film that always comes to mind for me is like, you know that movie Kick-Ass from like 2010? So I remember I was like 11 years old when that came out, and like I pirated it offline, and man, like I just remember on that film there was like 5 different film composers who worked on that movie, and I just remember thinking like, because obviously I was still like a bit of a little kid, and like I like those kind of superhero action funny movies, I still do, but I just remember like the music was like goofy, but it also had that like seriousness, like the serious tones when it needed to have it. And I don't know, after watching that movie, I kind of just thought like, this is actually something that I want to pursue and something that can be done and something that I really want to do. So definitely Kick-Ass was a good example of one of my favorite movies.
All right. What kind of led you to this point in your life?
This point? Well, I like to think myself, to be honest, if I can say that. But very much so, I find like if you're gonna be a freelance artist or composer or whatnot, like not everyone has an agent, right? Not everyone has good contacts. A lot of people today just have to kind of search for work themselves, and that's pretty much it. If you need to be confident in yourself, and you need to be a go-getter and actually go out and meet people who are, share the same interests, same common goals, and just go with the flow. Because I think back, like if I was the one who like approached Carleton to kind of get this work going for me, and I think back like, oh, if I didn't approach them, like I wouldn't be, getting paid to write music for my school, So it's really something that I have done on my own, and I think, everyone who's an artist should be doing that. Obviously help is great, but just having those like go-getter qualities and really just putting forth your effort definitely pays off.
What is your favorite genre of music when composing?
So my favorite genre would definitely be, in terms of, probably back to like more emotional bass, but I love like superhero kind of action music. That comes like really naturally to me, and I also like love messing around with kind of scary music, like horror movie kind of music. And like with today's technology and stuff, there's so many, and like even just like recording different sound effects, like you can come up with so many like spooky sounds, and I don't know, it might be sounding nerdy, but like I love that stuff. It's actually like amazing. But yeah, definitely I like action. I like kind of epic, big, grand superhero kind of music, as well as scary music. Those are like my top 3 if I had to pick. Definitely the most fun and preferred.
Okay. What is just your favorite genre of music?
Bruh. Genre of music?
Bruh.
Did you just ask that?
What's your favorite kind of video games to play?
Video games to play? Video games to play and video games to listen to. I played a lot of Call of Duty back in the day, I don't anymore, unfortunately. I don't know, I haven't played a video game in so long. Just busy, but definitely the Call of Duty video games were amazing. From Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops, they had incredible soundtracks. Hans Zimmer on Modern Warfare 2, like anyone who knows anything about composition would say, Hans Zimmer is definitely up there. And then another one of my inspirations, Brian Tyler, he did the music for Modern Warfare 3, and like just incredible, like crazy good. I'm trying to think of other video games. That's pretty much it. Like I mostly just played like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and like each of those like, and actually one thing I'll say that's pretty cool is like ever since like those games started coming out, all these video game companies, they started hiring like professional, like not professional obviously, like cinematic, like film composers. Like Hans Zimmer composed like Lion King, right? And then you have video game companies, bringing him over to compose for video games. And that's also obviously opens up a brand new world, like new opportunities and stuff. for film composers to also like not just create music as like classic like Super Mario kind of electronic sounds. Like no, they're bringing in like full orchestras to record and have music for these video games. And I think that's just the world we live in today. I'm thankful that they've opened up that world because it just means more opportunities and more work. So it's pretty good.
How would you go about actually going and drawing out emotions when composing something? For example, for a scary movie, how would you build up the suspense if you were composing for it?
So like, oh man, okay, it's a tough question there because there's like a lot of different ways you can go about that. Personally, I think in order to make a final decision on any of that, like you'd have to talk to the producer and like director, because sometimes like, as weird as it sounds, sometimes like no music is like the best thing for a movie or like a scene. But usually, I don't know, playing around with different like synths and different sound design is honestly like my go-to. I do sometimes compose for like orchestral instruments, but for scary movies and like kind of ambient creepy sounds, it all depends on the scene as well. If it's like you're always paying attention to the shots, how fast the scene is going, what the pace is. Like if you're just in a room with, I don't know, someone running away from like a monster or something, it's going to be a bit different than an action kind of scary sequence. But no, it generally like try to just keep it simple. Yeah.
So after this, what's coming up next for Diego Guzman?
Well, directly after this, definitely going home. And then next week, I'm starting a project with one of my contacts from Mexico. And he's doing a project for the American Director Society of Directors. I don't know, it's probably bad that I don't know off the top of my head, but it's basically it's their 100th year anniversary, and he's doing a short. I can't really say too much about it right now, but he's doing a little documentary for them, and I'm gonna help on that a little bit. And then as of right now, I do believe I'm gonna say 2 more things for Carleton. For sure, one more project, and then I'm helping out with some student journalism master's students in like March and April for their final assignments, their documentaries. But yeah, as of right now, what is it, February, March, April? Yeah, I have a pretty busy next 3 months. And then after that, I don't know, hopefully land an internship somewhere, hopefully Los Angeles. If not, I applied for a bunch of places in Toronto. So I'm hoping to get some experience more in, a well-known studio this summer. That would be amazing. And if not, I'll just keep doing what I do and just looking for work and keep that consistency up, because that's pretty much all that I care about right now with school and my other part-time jobs. So yeah, just keeping busy, pretty much.
All right. Thank you so much for doing this. This has been Diego Guzman.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.